Okay, let's just dive right into this. We're going to talk about how AI is basically rewiring our entire social media experience. And I'm not just talking about the videos and pictures you see, but the entire economic engine that's running underneath it all. So let me just ask you this straight up. When you're scrolling through your feeds lately, does something just feel, I don't know, a little off? Kind of strange? If you're nodding your head right now, trust me, you are not alone. Yeah, it seems like there's this shared feeling bubbling up everywhere. The content itself just feels more synthetic, right? More manufactured. And the engagement, the likes, the comments, it all seems a little inflated, maybe even automated. And let's be real, it's getting so much harder to tell what was made by an actual person versus what was just spit out by a machine. That human touch, it kind of feels like it's slipping away. But here's the thing. While we're all caught up on how our feeds feel, the real story, the much, much bigger story, isn't actually about the quality of the content at all. Nope. It's about a massive economic shift that's happening right under our noses.
So let's get right to the heart of it. The real issue here isn't that AI is making bad content. That's not the point. The real problem is that AI is completely shattering the economic model that the entire creator world has been built on for like the last decade.
Okay, so to really get why it's breaking, we've got to take a quick look under the hood at how it used to work. There was this pretty simple but really powerful engine driving the whole thing, and it all ran on one single type of fuel: our attention. And this is basically the old deal in a nutshell. It was a super straightforward loop. You had creators, real people, putting in the time and effort to make cool stuff. That stuff got our attention, then advertisers would pay the platforms to get in front of all that attention. And finally, a slice of that cash would go back to the creator. Simple, made sense, right? Now, there's actually a name for this whole setup, and it's super important for understanding what's happening. It's called a proof of work model. All that means is that the value of the content was tied directly to the effort. The time, the skill, all the late nights it took a creator to make something. Because a human was doing it, there was a natural limit, which meant that great content was scarce. And that scarcity is exactly what gave it value. But then, well, then came AI. And AI didn't just tweak the system a little bit. Oh no, it caused a massive rupture. It took that natural limit on creation, that scarcity we were just talking about, and it just, poof, completely erased it. And this comparison right here tells the whole story. The old limit? Time. It used to take hours, even days, to edit a video. Now, you can generate one in seconds. The other old limit? Skill. It took years to get good at something. Now, that same power is in the hands of basically anyone with a keyboard. The result is just staggering. We've gone from a world of finite, limited content to a world where the supply is, for all intents and purposes, infinite. So what happens next? Well, this leads us straight to the economic fallout. Think about it. When you have an infinite supply of something crashing head-on into a very finite pool of money, you get what you could call the Great Devaluation. This chart really says it all, doesn't it? That smaller bar, that's the total amount of money advertisers have to spend. I mean, sure, it grows a little, but it's a fixed amount. Now look at that other bar. That's the supply of content, which AI is launching into the stratosphere. When you have all that content fighting over that little pool of money, the value of any one piece of content gets squeezed down to almost nothing. I mean, it's just basic economics, right? When the supply of anything becomes infinite and the cost to make it drops to practically zero, the value of each individual thing gets pushed down toward that same floor. It just makes it so much harder for any single creator to get a meaningful slice of that pie. And this is really the key takeaway from all this. The source material nails it when it says that AI isn't actually the root of the problem. It's more like a catalyst. It's the thing that's finally exposing this deep, hidden weakness in the system. The fact that this whole attention economy was built on a really fragile assumption, the idea that the supply of content could actually be controlled. Okay, so if content isn't scarce anymore, then what is? Where does the value actually go from here? This right here is probably the most important question we're going to tackle. We're on a search for the new scarcity. Think about it. If attention, if engagement, if all that stuff can be faked, automated, and totally engineered by bots and algorithms, then it's no longer a good signal for what's actually valuable. It becomes a really weak, unreliable measurement. So we have to ask, what's the stronger signal? And this slide right here lays out the new reality perfectly. In the past, scarcity was all about who could produce unique, high-quality content. But the scarcity of the future? It's all about who can build genuine human trust. It's not about production capacity anymore. It's about the connection and the value between people. And that is something that is way, way harder to fake or automate. Which really leaves us with this one big critical question to chew on. When you look at the whole system, the algorithms, the ad money, how creators get paid, you just have to ask yourself, was any of this ever built to handle a world where content is infinite? And maybe more importantly, what do we build next?